Have you ever looked at a huge new development and just wondered, how on earth did they do that? We're not just talking about a few buildings. We're talking about building a whole city from scratch. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the super ambitious Highland Commons project in Mississippi. We'll see exactly how a vision on this scale actually gets built.
First things first, let's talk about the scale. Just look at that number. We're talking about a total project cost of $425 million. That's not just a budget for a new building. That is a massive generational investment meant to completely transform a region.
And with an investment that big, the financial goals have to be just as ambitious. The target for investors, the internal rate of return, or IRR, is a really strong 15 to 17%. So right from the get-go, this project is designed to be a win-win, a huge asset for the community and a powerful economic engine for those who back it.
This right here is the project's tagline, and it really sets the stage perfectly. The whole idea isn't just to pour concrete and put up walls. It's about creating something that lasts, a real legacy for the community, for veterans, for families, and for the investors. So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with that big vision, then get into the nitty-gritty of planning and financing. After that, we'll look at how it actually gets built. And finally, we'll tie it all back to that idea of a lasting legacy.
All right, let's dive into that big idea. What exactly is Highland Commons?
Okay, at its heart, Highland Commons is a massive 149-acre smart destination. The best way to think about it is like a city within a city. It's designed to be this walkable, sustainable place where you can live, work, and, actually thrive.
And this place is designed to have everything. It's incredibly diverse. You've got condos and senior housing right next to hotels and a convention center. There's a whole entertainment district with an aquarium and a museum, a dedicated healthcare hub. And get this, it's all powered by smart infrastructure, like its own solar microgrid, the whole shebang.
Now, you don't build a $425 million project all in one go. You just can't. The key is to be incredibly strategic and break it down into manageable phases.
This timeline really shows you how it's done. It starts with the boring but absolutely crucial stuff in 2025, getting all the permits and approvals. Then, in 2026, they lay the foundation, literally, with all the infrastructure. It's only then that you start to see the buildings rise, all sequenced logically over years to manage risk and, of course, cash flow.
And breaking the budget down by phase tells you even more. Each stage has its own clear price tag, lining the money up with the milestones. You can see the really heavy spending happens right in the middle as those huge commercial and hotel assets are being built. It all makes sense.
Which brings us to, let's be honest, the most critical part of any mega project, the money. So let's look at the financial engine that's actually making this whole vision possible.
So yeah, how do you pull together nearly $500 million for something like this? I can tell you one thing. It definitely doesn't come from a single bank account.
The answer is what's called the capital stack. It's a layer cake of funding. The biggest piece, 65%, is a traditional construction loan. But look at the other layers. You've got mezzanine debt, a really important 15% from public incentives, and then that 5% slice from the developers and investors. That's small, but it's crucial. It shows they have skin in the game.
Now, a huge piece of that public funding is something called tax increment financing, or TIF. It's actually a pretty clever tool. Basically, the city is borrowing against the future property taxes that this brand new development is going to create. That money is then used today to pay for public stuff like roads and utilities that make the whole project possible in the first place.
And this is just a brilliant example of a public-private partnership in action. The project is tapping into a whole suite of different programs, from that $30 million local TIF to federal programs that support everything from the medical facilities to the aquarium. It's this blend of funding that really makes the numbers work.
Okay, so the money's lined up. Now the focus has to shift to execution. How do you turn that blueprint into a real place while managing an insane amount of risk?
Well, it all starts with a ton of due diligence. Before a single shovel can hit the dirt, the team has to check off these critical boxes. They have to get legal control of the land, make sure it's environmentally safe and stable enough to build on, prove the engineering plans are sound, and finally, get all the approvals from the city. It's just a methodical process of eliminating risk one step at a time.
Another really smart risk management tool is the legal structure. For Highland Commons, they're using 21 different special purpose vehicles, or SVPs. Think of it like this.
Each major piece of the project, the hotel, the medical center, the condos, is put into its own separate company. This creates a firewall, so if one part of the project has a problem, it doesn't sink the entire ship.
So now let's zoom back out. All of this incredibly complex planning and financing, it's all for a much bigger goal, to build that legacy we talked about. And this slide says it all, really. On the left, you've got the fantastic financial returns. We're talking a potential exit valuation of almost $1 billion. And on the right, you see what that investment actually creates. More than 1,000 permanent jobs, brand new facilities for veterans and seniors, and a new center for tourism and healthcare for the whole region.
Let's just pause on that jobs number for a second. Over 1,200 permanent jobs. That is a direct, tangible economic impact. It's the real-world connection between a smart investment and lasting community growth. It's not just a number, it's livelihoods. I think this quote from the founder really captures the whole spirit of the project. It's not just about building something new, it's about restoring a sense of community, of purpose, and of economic energy. It's about planting a seed that will grow for generations.
So when you look at it, Highland Commons is really a masterclass in weaving private money and public incentives together to achieve a huge community vision. And that brings up a really big question for the future. As our cities and towns look to grow and revitalize, is this kind of deep public-private partnership going to be the new normal? Is this the future?